days away now from Milano Cortina 2026. I literally love saying those words, days away. It is like a kid in a candy store, Christmas all at once for Olympic fans. And so honoured today to be joined by an athlete who created history 4 years ago in Beijing, becoming the highest placed finisher in the history of US biathlon in an individual event, and set to return for her second Olympic Games in Milano Cortina. It is a massive honour to welcome to the program Deedra Irwin. Deedra, welcome to Off the Podium.
Woo! Thank you. No pressure. No pressure.
None at all. Never any pressure. What are you talking about? It's just the Olympics and a big podcast interview. Well, I don't know what you mean. It's just a casual chat, right?
Just the Olympics. Yeah. So casual.
Casual.
Everybody goes there.
Small little event that people just happen to be going for in the mountains in just a couple of days. I mean, it is that point really where I have to start off talking about what's about to happen. Usually we start off pretty simple. Hey, Deedra, how did you get involved in the sport? But no, we are obviously days away. How are you feeling right now ahead of your second Olympics? Let's start with the I want to say easy question, but probably not that easy.
Oh, yeah. That is like such a layered question, because obviously like so excited, so honored to represent, myself, the country, the army, my family, all the communities that got me here. But also, it's the Olympics. It's a little scary. You want to be perfect. You want to perform perfectly every single day. And that is such a hard thing to do. Even if you're a pro, even if you do this all the time. So I'm feeling really good coming off of my second trimester of racing. I just finished racing this Sunday. I placed 10th in a mass start, shot 95%. Super happy about it. And I was even feeling under the weather. So I'm like pretty happy and pretty confident in my skills going into the Olympics. But I'll say it a million times, it's biathlon. Anybody can do well. Anybody can miss a few shots and then all of a sudden be like way in the back. And I think I proved that last Olympics. I went into the 2022 Olympics completely unranked. Nobody really knew who I was, except for that I was always fighting to get in the top 60. And I was like the anchor leg on the US women's relay team that sometimes did well and sometimes, blew up. So going into my first race and being able to have that near perfect race, 19 out of 20 and a top, I think 15 ski time and place 7th, which is the, best ever finish in US biathlon Olympic history. It was crazy. It was absolutely insane. I mean, anybody you ask, I was not expected to have that result. You even ask me, I was shocked. I didn't sleep for like days after because the adrenaline was so high. And so I think it's one of those things. Biathlon is such an incredibly complicated puzzle of a sport between the endurance and the mental fortitude and just your skills on that day that, anybody who starts the race could get in the top 10. About half of those people can podium. And that's why biathlon is so exciting. That's why so many people love watching it. It has all the elements of a super exciting, crazy professional sport.
I'm really getting a trend on this show recently of biathlon getting sold so well. I've always loved watching biathlon. I love any winter sport that I barely get to see anything in this country, but biathlon's always one I like to hang out with. But one of our correspondents on the show, he's a German, and he basically came on this show and we did a preview of biathlon and just waxed lyrical to the point where he said that this should be the number one sport in the world. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. It's that exciting and action-packed. And I really feel that this is something that maybe we need to get on a massive train to go, screw you, soccer. You've had your time at the number one sport in the world. It's biathlon's time, right?
Yeah, definitely. Biathlon, I think, still is the, most broadcast winter sport in Europe. And so we definitely have like the highest TV ratings. Everybody tunes in to watch us when, we're usually on prime time when people are, figuring out our schedule. I'm like racing at night sometimes because that's when people want to watch biathlon. So it's definitely a massively popular sport in Europe. But you're right. Around the rest of the world, it's especially in the US and, Australia, New Zealand, like That's why we poached your New Zealand guy for Team USA.
Heard about this.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
We usually do that.
It's
Don't
not
worry.
nearly as popular.
That's an Australian thing. We usually steal New Zealanders. It's fine. You're welcome to the club. It's fun, isn't it?
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he had a U.S. passport. It wasn't too easy to get him on the team.
Exactly. At the end of the day, look, we love you, New Zealand, but there's grass is always greener elsewhere. Let's be honest. Come on now. Let's go that way.
I do love Australia. Haven't been to New Zealand yet. So.
You're not missing much. There's a few more sheep. That's about it. And they filmed some, trilogy there about hobbits. But other than that, Australia, you did all right there. But I mean, coming into the second one, based on everything you're saying there, obviously we'll talk about what happened in Beijing. But as you said, going into that, not a lot of pressure on you. Your first race, you finished 7th. Great. Do you feel pressure this time around, and if you do you thrive in that? Because we find a lot of athletes on the show love that extra pressure. They love the extra eyes. They feel they thrive more in that situation.
I would say I'm kind of in the middle. I don't love a ton of pressure, especially when it's a lot of my internal pressure. And I think that's what most people say is nobody expects it. You put too much pressure on yourself. And I think sometimes I do. Like when I'm feeling really good, I want to perform really well. And so I sometimes, make really dumb mistakes on the range. I'll have the fastest course time I've ever had, and then all of a sudden miss 3 shots on weeks that I'm feeling really good. And then sometimes I'll go into these weeks where I'm like, I don't feel so great. I'm going to kind of chill a little bit on the ski course. And next thing you know, I'm hitting all my targets and getting top 10s. And that's just a crazy, so finding that balance between I want that pressure. I want to feel really good. I want to, pursue that podium. But sometimes if I get too excited, I'll go out too hard. I'll try to shoot too fast. I'll miss a few targets. And then, you're kind of almost throwing away that opportunity. So definitely this season, I've been kind of working on that balance. And every time I've gotten onto a start line, I'm definitely, kind of trying to channel and visualize, okay, I'm in Antholz. I'm starting the sprint. How do I feel today? How do you think I'm going to perform today? And I think it's been a really interesting season for me to kind of almost try to put myself in that pressure situation before I actually get there. So hopefully now when I get there, I'll be ready for it because I've already kind of ran through that scenario a million times in my head this season in every single race. And even in the individual this past week, I went into the last shooting in the individual having cleaned so far. And I was like, all right, I'm in Antholz. I'm going for a medal, just like in Beijing. Can I hit all 5 targets? And can I get on that podium? And of course, I went into the range and I missed 1 target, just like I did in Beijing. But I got a top 15 and I could not be happier and prouder of myself for doing that. But, it's one of those things where, you try to visualize, you try to put yourself in that situation. And I think that's where the more experienced athletes going into the Olympics, the ones who've been doing this for 10, 15 years, they don't really even blink an eye. They're just there. They're doing their job. They're going through the motions. They have such good habits with pressure and with everything that, I definitely strive to have that kind of level-headed, excited, want to perform pressure, but not too much that I make mistakes.
How do you find things like this? I mean, going into Beijing, I'm sure you had some level of media attention, but probably very limited. Now that you've had that result in Beijing, I've watched some great things that you've sort of done in the lead up to this and some great stuff you've done on social media as well. But do you enjoy this not just as a way of selling the sport, which as we touched on before, not the biggest sport obviously in the US, but being able to share your experiences, share what you're thinking and kind of get it out there a little bit more, kind of your journey essentially?
Yeah, I think it is, especially with how unique my journey has been. I think it's really inspirational to a lot of different people. I mean, I didn't start biathlon until I was 25 years old. That's not a common thing for most Olympians to say. I mean, most Olympians, they know what they want to do when they're like 16. I wanted to be a track and field star. Look where I am now in a winter sport, very not heat tolerant at all. So it's definitely really nice to share my story, to inspire people to kind of continue chasing their dreams, but also I think to humanize us Olympians a little bit. We're so excited to go to this. We want to, do all the social media. We want to get our sports out there, but also we want to let people know that like we are also prone to mistakes. Like I want to get a medal, of course, but I also think if I don't get a medal, I think someone on my team will, because I think we have a really strong team. And am I going to be a little bummed? Not really. I think I've already had an incredible, successful season, and I would be excited if any of my teammates, podiumed. And it's a team effort, even though we're an individual sport. And so I think that's a really, unique thing that I've been able to experience this time is, yes, definitely sharing my story, sharing all the ups and downs, the successes and failures that I've had, but also, being able to humanize the journey a little bit and not try to put too much pressure on myself, and definitely try to just enjoy the process and enjoy all the emotions that come along with, making the Olympics and getting all the swag and having my family here this time. And, this will be my first time my brothers get to watch me race internationally. I don't think they've ever been out of the country, so, so there's so many extra things that, are coming with this Olympics for me, that I definitely am just trying to just survive it emotionally and have a great experience. Because I think there's a lot of, if you can put too much pressure on yourself, even if you win a medal, you can still be a little bummed about, how you did it and what you put yourself through. And I look at the Olympics as such an honor and a privilege to be a part of. But I will not be defined by if I medal or not. And I think I've made that decision at the last Olympics, and I'm so grateful I get to try again at this Olympics. And, maybe I'll go for another, but I think it's definitely, really fun to tell people that, yeah, I have these big goals, but I'm going to be happy either way. I get to look into the crowd and see my parents and my brothers and my fiance and my, mother and father-in-law. I mean, it's going to be really, really incredible.
Just adding, if you go for another one, the one after that is at home in Utah. So, just...
Ooh, that one's really far away for me. That 2034, I think I would be in my 40s.
Still a spring chicken.
I don't know about
Come
that.
on.
I mean, maybe, yeah,
There's that ski jumper who's like in his 50s. So come on, like you're fine. You're good. So...
all he has to do is like fly through the air and pray,
Well, I
got to put in 700 hours of training every year. Like
that's just a bit, but I have faith in you, Deedra. You never know. Like, plenty goes on.
I mean, I'm going to take it year by year, as long as the world-class athlete program is supporting me. They want to support me into my 40s. I'll go for it.
Keep going on that way. I mean, on that, we've had a few athletes on from the program, and I actually also recently spoke to a German ice skating pair who were also in the German military and sort of supported by them as well. It's a unique system that many countries have, which sadly Australia doesn't. But I mean, kind of just on what you're doing out there and how supportive that is to be with the army. And I saw a great interview you did where it sort of obviously then gives you this great career after obviously your competitive career as well. I mean, just that level of support that they give you. I mean, how helpful is that, and how supportive are they at this time right now? I mean, I hope a war doesn't break out tomorrow, because you can be like, guys, sorry, second Olympics. Like, I'm busy for the next couple of weeks. Started in a few more, can we?
Yeah. I mean, it has been really incredible. I don't think I would have gotten this far in biathlon without the support of the U.S. Army. I first joined the Vermont Army National Guard in 2019 because biathlon is an expensive sport. And I definitely was not a spring chicken joining at 25 years old. And I didn't really have all of, the knowledge or the finances to just kind of take up a brand new sport. And so the Vermont Army National Guard showed me this path. And I mean, I went to college for 5 years. So what's signing a military contract for 6, So for me, it was incredible, especially in the US. If a lot of people don't know about US things, like you get kicked off your parents' health care when you're 26 years old. So, it was nice to get a job for that benefit. And, just to be able to have some of that stability, like you said, that security, knowing that, whatever happened in my sport, I had a career to fall back on. I had, a support system that, would support me no matter if I was an athlete or just a human resource specialist. And so that gave me a lot of, just comfort in knowing that I had something going for me other than my biathlon results. And I think having that sense of security definitely helped me become as, you know, successful as I have in biathlon, because I have been able to focus solely on training and not have to worry about, my healthcare, my student loans, my salary, if I can afford rent this month, if I can afford food. And so it's been really incredible. And then after the 2022 Olympics, I was able to join the US Army World Class Athlete Program, which is what I'm a part of now. And they have even more resources other than just obviously the salary and the benefits. I've been able to work with the team nutritionist a ton. They're constantly, giving me ideas and sending me products that I can try out to obviously perform at a higher level and be able to handle all the training we do. So it's been really incredible to be able to work with that program. And we've also been able to do some forums where I have been able to meet and exchange ideas with some of the other athletes. And that's been really cool too, because I think sometimes you get caught up on your team and you really just know your teammates' stories. And we all know what we've been through as biathletes, but being able to meet, steeplechasers, wrestlers, boxers, bobsledders, I mean, you name a sport, the World Class Athlete Program has an athlete. And so it's been really cool to kind of, when you're in those situations, share your successes and your failures, and mentally and physically, how did you get through it? And what support did you look for? And what, even what military schools have you gone to? How have you, performed in your career? How have you gotten further in your your job and everything like that? So it's been a really amazing program to be a part of, to be able to meet and be teammates with such dedicated, resilient, we're soldiers. We're the coolest people ever.
Yeah. And
so to be able to meet.
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say that and the discipline. Yeah. I just love the level because, I'm a structured, organized guy, Deedra, and then just, the levels of discipline and structure and everything that you have, which I'm sure as an athlete as well, that just feeds in perfectly. I mean, touch on what you're saying, the amount of hours that you're putting in for training, you kind of need to make sure that they're up to scratch, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so being able to, go talk to other athletes who have been through the trenches, both in basic training and as professional athletes, and be on a team of a bunch of people that understand everything you're going through and the big goals that you have, getting Olympic medals, getting to the Olympics. It's been a really amazing program to be a part of. And the amount of support that, I've been able to get from the US Army, from the US Army National Guard, it has made me the successful athlete that I am today.
Where do you hope that takes you sort of career-wise? I mean, here we are talking about like, going for another Olympics, possibly, 2034, it's going to happen. But I mean, do you sort of look at what the Army and kind of where that can go for you outside of biathlon?
Definitely. I mean, I think for sure if I go to the 2030 Olympics, I'll be already, I believe, 11 years in the Army. And why not go for 20 at that point? They've got me now for my whole career. And so looking at jobs in that, I love being a human resource specialist. And so I think that's definitely something I can do full time, but also the World Class Athlete Program, they always need athletes maybe to hop into admin roles to help out, because we've been through the program, we know what's going on. And then coaching positions too. Same with the National Guard biathlon team has coaching positions. So I've definitely have already, thought of a million different pathways that I can take within the Army to continue having a successful career after I'm done being an athlete. And I think it's very calming, I think, for me to know that I have so many different options within the US Army to continue to grow as a human and a successful, soldier and athlete after I'm done.
I'm pretty sure, based on what you're saying with the amount of athletes in both summer and winter, not that you don't want to represent the Stars and Stripes, of course you do, but I think the US Army almost needs to field their own team. You'd be on the medal table probably beating half the other countries out there with the amount of athletes you've got across the summer and winter, right? I mean, gosh, you'd probably, kicking our ass in the winters, I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's always a goal, is to, recruit more dedicated, resilient, super organized soldiers. And obviously, if they can also be athletes, then yeah, join the World Class Athlete Program. And so I think that's one thing too, is this program is meant to bring light to the U.S. Army, to show people that there are so many different paths to serve your country, and being a soldier and being an athlete, and, finding the right way that works for you. Like, I think, like I said, for me, talking to that recruiter in 2018, best decision I ever made for my career, for my life, for my future. And so I think a lot of people, if you would have asked me when I was 18 or 19 or 20 years old, like if I would be in the US Army, I would have been like, heck no, there's no way. Why would I join the Army? And next thing you know, I'm joining the Army, and I am in love with my career as both a soldier and an athlete. And I can't see myself doing anything else right now. So there's so much that we can share as soldier athletes in the World Class Athlete program to inspire people to look at their life a little differently and see maybe who they can become within this world.
Speaking of that sort of age period, I mean, you touched on before that you got into biathlon quite late, and I want to sort of get into that transition. The one thing though I wanted to actually ask you about on a random note at the very beginning, from where you're from in Wisconsin, Pulaski, I believe this is the polka capital of the world, I'm reading here. Does this mean you just are forced into growing up with polka? There's a pretty big polka festival there, is there not?
There is. And so I grew up in Pulaski, Wisconsin, but I was actually born a couple hours north of there. And I lived there until I was maybe in like first grade. I can't remember how old I am at that age, but I remember when my parents wanted to move, I was young enough that I didn't really understand what's going on. They were just like, we're going to go camping at this polka festival. And I was like, okay, obviously I don't have a choice. I'm a child. And so we brought our pop-up camper, and we're camping to kind of, I guess, like check out the vibe of the town, or I don't know, maybe my parents at that point were already signing papers for the house. Obviously I was so young, I didn't know. But I just know that I couldn't sleep because they played polka music till like 2 a.m.
Oh, no, I've triggered you. I brought it up. I've triggered you.
No, it's fine because I love it now. I love when I get to go back and they even have so it's like it's like a 4 or 5 day festival, and on Sunday morning they have polka mass.
Oh, wow.
And it's exactly what you think. It's church with polka music.
Oh, wow.
So it is a huge deal. Pulaski is Polish through and through. My parents joked about changing our last name to Irwinski when we moved there. And it's like the coolest little community ever. And yeah, they love polka music. There's a local bakery there called Schmrawa's. I can't spell it. It's Polish, but they make the best like Polish donuts. I love them.
Wow.
It's such a cool little town. And it was an interesting place to grow up, not having been a Polish person.
Yeah. I can imagine.
But I grew to love Polish food and polka music. So yeah, that's my hometown, people.
My only knowledge of polka music is Weird Al Yankovic likes to play a bit of polka music on his albums. That's about it. I do love a good Wikipedia page where it has a list of notable people from that town. You are one of only 3 notable people from that town, apparently. We have is it Gary Jizwecki, a businessman, and Harry Rosmarak, a veterinarian. I didn't realize you could be a prominent veterinarian, but there you go. But so does that mean you are the only Olympian ever from Pulaski, at least that you know of?
100%.
Wow.
I'm the only Olympian from Pulaski, Wisconsin.
That's
and I actually
cool.
grew up in a township really close to Pulaski. So Pulaski is like my hometown, but even smaller, the township of Angelica.
Oh.
And they actually got me my own little sign on the like one corner in town that says like hometown of Deedra Irwin, and next to a little sign that says Angelica. It's unincorporated. So obviously it's not a real town, but
it is now.
It's my town. My block is 6 miles long. You know, it's one of those tractors and cows and horses on every, street. So
they're going to name it after you soon. They'll build you a statue in Pulaski. Like, come on, where's the Deedra Irwin statue? History maker.
That's true.
Yeah.
Soon. I mean, they did make a cutout of me this year, and I've been traveling to all the different businesses, dentist office, and schools. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a little cutout of me making my way around Pulaski.
You could be the mayor. But after the army sort of you retire.
I think they will give me a key someday. Yeah.
I'm surprised I haven't. I mean, come on, you are like the only. No disrespect to the great businessmen and veterinarians of the town, but to me, you are like the number one, right? You should own the town. Literally, not just the
Yeah,
key.
we do have another guy. I'm surprised he's not on the Wikipedia page, but I think he's in the Polka Hall of Fame.
Oh, well, okay. Well, come on, Wikipedia. What's going on here?
I know. We got to change that up.
I
Yeah.
can't say my knowledge of the Polka Hall of Fame is that high, but maybe we can change that to get him his due recognition there, going that sort of thing. I did also read.
I'm just keeping up on my hometown.
Yeah, you've got to protect your hometown. That's what you do, right? I did also read, given the proximity to Green Bay, that you are a big Packers fan, and that you even got given a custom jersey by the team ahead of Beijing. That must be pretty exciting when all of a sudden you get that in the mail or a phone call going like, "Hey, Deedra, here you go. Here's a nice crisp jersey. Go Packers."
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. I can't remember who set it up, but yeah, we got a letter from the CEO and a custom jersey that had my name on it with 22, obviously for the 2022 Olympics. And I think I can't remember what Packer player it was, but they sent us a video on Twitter and they were cheering for us and watching us. So it was a really amazing experience. And then when we got back, we got to go to one of the games and I got to try on some Super Bowl rings, and it was a really cool thing. I mean, my family, you can't grow up that close to Green Bay and not be a huge Packer fan. I think that's the first place my mom brings everybody when they come to visit. They're like, we're going to go do a tour of Lambeau. She'll even drive around and show them the old stadium at, I think it's like East Green Bay High School, the original. So you get a full tour every time you come to visit Pulaski from my mom. So it's was super unique growing up near a professional football team. I think that helped propel these like huge dreams that I had of becoming a professional athlete. And it's such a legacy to grow up by. And so it was really, really cool. I still love going back and being able to experience home games with my friends and go to Titletown and just be around that atmosphere. It's the coolest thing. And, if they want to send me a 26 jersey, I won't complain.
Yeah, you can always have an updated version, right? They change it slightly, no doubt, in the in the 4 years. I mean, that drive and sort of you started doing track and field. You did some cross country skiing as well, some cross country running. Was your dream very young always to go to an Olympics, particularly in track and field, or eventually when you did switch into cross country skiing?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I found running, it was like fifth grade. I did a track and field event that like all fifth graders get to do. And they just we ran the mile and they started all the men and the women together. I should say girls and boys at that point. We were in fifth grade.
They grow up fast in Wisconsin. They grow up very fast.
Yeah. But no, I did that race and I beat the boys. And I think that was for me, like, I'm a runner. I'm a track star. I was like, this is the coolest thing. I love running. And for me, it just became everything since then, and I grew up with two brothers, so I was very competitive. So anything I could beat them in, I was trying to do it. And running was one thing I could beat them in, especially distance running. And so I fell in love with it at such a young age. And of course, I still did basketball, soccer, swimming, everything that I could. I was a little Energizer bunny. And it wasn't until I was about 16 years old in high school that I got introduced to Nordic skiing from a couple runners on my team, because I didn't like running in the winter. And so I was mostly into swimming. But by the time I got to track and field, I just wasn't really fast enough yet. I had a good cardio, but the muscle development wasn't there. So they introduced me to Nordic skiing, and I really struggled with it at first, but my mom didn't raise a quitter. I came home and I remember, being like, oh, I'm tired. I just want to eat, do my homework and go to bed. And I don't think my mom had ever heard those words come out of my mouth before. And she's like, you're going to stay in this sport. We're going to keep you in this for a while, just for energy management, if not anything else. And obviously I'm so competitive that I started training full time, during the summer as a Nordic skier, doing the roller skiing and everything like that. And it just became, part of my training regimen. And into college, I definitely fell in love with it more and more. And the more I got injured in running, the more my dreams of becoming an elite runner kind of dwindled away. And I never really thought I could become an Olympic skier by any means, but I definitely just wanted to see how far I could go in the sport. So yeah, my running Olympic dreams started very young, like middle school. I remember watching, track and field in the Olympics, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. I went to running camps with Olympians and prior Olympians and stuff. And that was really cool for me. But yeah, I got more and more injured, and that kind of top tier running dream kind of dwindled away from me. And I definitely just kept wanting to keep trying in Nordic skiing. And that's kind of what has led me to, biathlon and to the Olympics, was that I never really felt like I was ready to give up at any point. I knew I still had some more in me in Nordic skiing. I was still learning. I still, wanted to figure out how to get faster and more efficient. And next thing you know, I'm in biathlon, and then the whole puzzle of shooting just fell into my lap, which is, I love puzzles. So it was just the coolest thing to figure out how to shoot targets in the middle of a race. I mean, come on, it's addicting watching those targets go down. So yeah, it's never really been like, I want to, I need to be an Olympian. I want to be an Olympian. It's just, I want to figure out how to be the best I can be in whatever sport I'm doing. And that's kind of led me to just becoming addicted to biathlon, I guess.
Which is a good thing. As we said before, we all should be addicted to biathlon. But I mean, that sort of progression then that you do when you switch into biathlon and then ultimately leads you to Beijing. Do you remember that moment when you qualified or officially announced for Beijing? I mean, I guess it's kind of almost two different things, isn't it? Because a lot of the time you're qualifying that quota spot, you basically know you're there, but then you've got to wait for the phone call and the email and the announcement. But I mean, do you sort of remember that whole period and what it was like to find out that you were officially going to the Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, it was COVID racing, COVID trials. That was just like a crazy time. So obviously everybody had to modify how you were qualifying for the team. And we actually had a 5-race trial series for Beijing 2022. And we were fighting for 2 spots. It was me and Joanne were fighting for the last 2 spots on the team against a couple other biathletes who had come over from the US. And I remember like the first race I won, the second race Joanne won, and the next race I won, and the next race Joanne won. So I think we definitely knew at that point, like we had both made it. But I got disqualified from one of the races also.
Why? What did you do?
I opened my bolt before I got on the mat.
Right. Okay. And that's a no-no in biathlon.
People didn't know that was.
Okay. Right.
Yep. Found that out.
Yep.
So it was still like a very, very stressful time. And so it definitely was one of those things where I knew that like I had the ability to make the team, but you never really know what's going to happen in those trials races. Like you could get disqualified by opening a bolt too soon. You could miss a few targets because it's really windy. And so I still was kind of on edge for all those trials. But once we got through the 5 trials races and, I calculated my own personal math, I knew that I'd made the team before they announced it. So I definitely was just sitting at the hotel room with Joanne, sharing a little bottle of bubbly to celebrate.
Waiting for the phone call.
When the official, waiting for the phone call. When the official phone call came in, then we started spraying the champagne. No, I'm kidding. But no, that's when I got to call my mom and I got to call my dad and I got to call everybody. And, that's, I think when you're able to share that news with the people who have supported you through thick and thin, all the ups and downs, the amount of money my parents put into me becoming who I am. And, the investment that they put into me. So being able to call them and give them the news and celebrate with them, that for me was like the big moment that I remember where I was like, we did it. I made it. It was all worth it. All the shit, everything I've been through, all the, like every little stressor, every good moment, every bad moment, that was the moment, being able to call them and share that with them. And so I think what's really cool is I wasn't able to have them at the Olympics, which was really hard for me and them. And now, I remember sharing that moment with them, being able to call them and tell them, and now they actually get to come here and they get to experience it. They get to live it with me. And I think that is going to be so cool for this Olympics. So definitely, was confident I could make the team this year. So when it got announced, it was sort of like, okay, yeah. But I think I'm waiting for those emotions to kind of like, I'm waiting for those emotions to come over me. Like, I think the first time I see my parents, in the stands for the race, or they'll probably come to some trainings beforehand, so I don't have a heart attack on race day. I think that's going to be a really emotional and another like made it moment for me where I can really celebrate everything that we've put into this. Because even though I've had the Army supporting me for the last 4 years and I haven't been as much of a financial burden on my family and all the people that have supported me, I'm still very much a mental burden on them. No.
We all are. Don't worry. It's why we're their children. That's the point.
You got to keep them on their toes, you know?
Exactly. Exactly. Is there a moment, or was there a moment, or maybe there hasn't been a moment yet where it kind of hits you that you are an Olympian? Is it the phone call? Is it the opening ceremony? Is it lining up on the start line for the first time? I mean, kind of, was there a moment where it really hit you that you were an Olympian?
I think for me, there was like the two moments that I remember from Beijing. One of them was walking through the tunnel in the nest, and you kind of just like walking in and you see everything, you hear everything. And then all of a sudden you got to the point where like the tunnel disappears and you look up and there were those giant, like crystally blue Olympic rings just like hanging and looming over us. And for me, that was probably, I think, like the first moment that I like really like cried and let a bunch of emotion kind of just like hit me of like, I am here. And I remember watching, I think it was the 2008 Olympics, the Summer Olympics that were in Beijing. I remember watching the opening ceremonies at the Nest. And so like, and that was one of my moments too, where I was like, I want to be an Olympian. So being able to kind of have that come full circle and then be at those Olympics in the Nest, seeing those giant rings looming over me, it was just such an incredible, happy, I still like remember it so vividly. That was amazing. And then I think the other moment for me where I definitely was like, I'm an Olympian, this is happening, was putting on my first bib for that individual that I placed 7th place in. Just like putting that bib on in the wax cabin was emotional. Skiing around was emotional. Getting to the start line, I like had to like 5 seconds before I had to wipe a tear because I was just like, whew, okay. Once I cross this wand and finish this race, like I am an Olympian, like I'm in the books as having done a race. And little did I know that race would be like putting me in like the record books.
Literally. Yeah.
So like now that memory even feels, even more crazy. I'm an Olympian moment.
I love hearing it. That's why we asked that question. I love sort of, it's always a different answer to be described there. One thing that I love though in seeing a description of that 7th place in your first event is somebody introduced it. I think it was on the news that day. It might have been from your hometown, and they said you will now forever be a trivia question. Like your name will always be an answer to a trivia question, which I love the way of describing it. Were you aware when you crossed the line in 7th of the history that it made? I mean, was that something in the biathlon community that people were aware of what the highest position by an individual was at the Olympics prior to that time?
I'm sure there were a lot of people on my team who were aware of it. I was not one of those people. Like I said, I went in and I was unranked. I was one of those people that they were like, you made the team and you're going to be great in the women's relay. We're so proud of you. But nobody expected me to have, this really big result. I was not the athlete that was supposed to have that result. So I didn't know what the history was of it. I mean, I definitely watched some of the races at the 2018 Olympics. I watched, I was just starting out in biathlon. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch some of my teammates, but I didn't really know what was going on. So I had no idea. And it wasn't until I was in the finishing pen that they told me. And I think I definitely had a very shocked, surprised, crying, like, what kind of look on my face of like, what did you just, what? And so it was a really, emotional, crazy. I learned a lot in that day, that evening.
Yeah, you learned
about
the history
of US biathlon.
Yeah, which it's one of these ones that blows my mind. We did it in the lead up to Paris. We sort of were like, what sports have the US never medaled in at the Olympics? There's got to be some, right? There are 5 in the summer, by the way, if you weren't aware of. But biathlon is the only winter sport. I mean, technically now ski mountaineering is a sport, so there's technically 2 that the US has not medaled, which again, it blows my mind. Coming from Australia where we think you guys just win everything, it's kind of like, wow, there are actually sports that the US haven't won it. But I love how you sort of described it, that, and even you touched on it in this interview, that whether it's you who can break through for that medal in Milano Cortina or a teammate, it's going to happen. Like, this is just a matter of when, not if. I mean, that obviously puts a lot of confidence in the team heading into these games, because it's great to create that history, but there's still that next level of history now that yourself or one of your teammates is inevitably going to create at this stage.
Oh, definitely. And I think that was, and it's cool to break a record. It's cool to make history. But I think even when I was in college, every record I broke, it got broke within 5 years. And I'm super proud of those people, because that's why records are made. Records are meant to be broken. I think I had 5 track and field records at Michigan Tech. I now have 0 track and field records at Michigan Tech, because the track team got it together and got super strong. And so I think it's the same here. It's like, we're meant to break these records. We're meant to surprise people. We're meant to do all this. And then they are immediately meant to be broken. And so I think that's really cool. I mean, Campbell had 2 silver medals last year at World Championships. We've never had that before. Someone medal twice at a World Champs. We've had it happen once. We've had people get golds. But it just shows the consistency of our program and how much, we're willing to put into it to become contenders, not just at the Olympics, but all the time at the World Cups. And I think a lot of people are starting to look at US Biathlon, and they're starting to see the investment we've made into our team and see the development that we've made. And, soon we hope to be, on those same levels as Norway and Sweden and France and Italy. They've just been doing this sport for so long. They've been heavy hitters for so long. And I think the US isn't, biathlon's not a very popular sport. And so, step one, we have to grow it in the US. We have to get more kids who want to break records, who want to, see that looming medal and be part of history. And then, then we'll develop the programs as we go, and we'll get up there. And so I think it's one of those things where it's not a hindrance that we are the only sport that hasn't medaled. It is fuel for the fire.
Great answer. And it's also fun for us podcast hosts who just have that random trivia. We loved asking that question to our summer athlete. I'm going to put this to you right now, put you on the spot. Could you guess any of the 5 sports in the Summer Olympics that the US have never won a medal in?
Are we counting ones that
not the new ones in LA. So I'm not
okay.
I'm not counting cricket.
Yeah.
Or ones that are about to start. Ones that have been
lacrosse or
no,
we'd probably baseball. We've golf. I'm trying to even remember. There's so many more summer sports than there are winter sports.
I'll give you a big clue. One of them's actually one of the 3 disciplines of gymnastics, believe it or not. Actually 2, technically 2 of the 3 forms of gymnastics you've technically not won medals in, because one is I classify one under
rhythmic.
Yeah, rhythmic's one.
Rhythmic. Yeah, that makes sense.
Trampoline. Apparently, you've actually never won a medal in trampoline, which blows my mind as well. A fairly new
that
addition.
That does blow my mind.
To the ones. The other ones, off the top of my head, I haven't written this down. So there's table tennis. Now I've gone blank on the other ones. I think it might be badminton. And
I could see that.
The other one is completely escaping me right now, but I know there is a 5th. Here I am coming on all gung-ho.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it makes sense. I feel like it's similar, I guess, for if you look at what is gymnastics, you have the really popular gymnastics, which is what everybody watches. And then in the US, at least, rhythmic and trampoline are not as popular.
Yeah.
And so it's similar with skiing. Skiing is really popular. Biathlon is a little bit more complicated part of skiing. Mm-hmm. So we have a lot of skiers. We don't have a lot of biathletes because not a lot of people are able to pick up a rifle and do it. So it's kind of a subset of Nordic skiing that, isn't as popular. So it's going to take us a little longer to get people in it so then we need to get people in it. Then we need to get people who can medal. As
I just discovered doing a little Vox Pop series on the weekend that people are going to see in our social media very soon. At least in this country, many Australians aren't even aware there are different types of skiing, Deedra. They just think skiing. So when I have to explain to them, I asked a question, what is Australia's most successful sport at the Winter Olympics? And when I said the words freestyle skiing, they sort of looked at me blank, oh, what's that one? So yes, few people don't realize that there's freestyle, there's alpine, there's Nordic. Obviously,
Nordic,
skimo now
yeah.
that we're about to see. Handball. I knew there was an obvious one. Handball.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I could see us not having podiumed in that yet.
Very European-centric,
Soon.
the handball, of course. But,
Very European. Yeah. It's on TV all the time.
It's a great sport. I saw it in Paris. It is amazing.
Yeah.
It is such an amazing sport. The other thing we usually ask our guests about is sort of the non-competitive aspect of the Olympics, village life, pin trading. Yours is the glaringly biggest one, though, I think I've ever had of any guest on this show, because you talked about the opening ceremony before, but not only did you get to see those glorious Olympic rings and celebrate walking behind the stars and stripes, you also got to meet your future husband. Now, I know you've told this story to death, but you haven't told it on Off the Podium. Please tell us about how you meet your future husband walking into the bird's nest in Beijing at Olympic Games.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, so obviously I also am so nostalgic about the Olympics because like, yeah, I didn't get a medal, but I got a ring. So, literally the greatest moment of my life. It was one of those funny things. Yeah, we were both in the Jean-Jacques village where he's an alpine snowboarder. Nordic skiing was there along with like ski jumping and a couple other sports. And so, yeah, we got to take the bullet train to Beijing. And so we met actually in the courtyard of the village. He likes to say that we made eye contact and smized at each other because we were wearing masks, obviously. I had the most beautiful eyes he's ever seen.
Aww.
And I was just like, oh, someone talking to me. No, but it was our first introduction there. And then obviously, you get shuffled in between a bunch of people. But by the time we got down to Beijing and we were having dinner, I think at one of the hockey arenas, and then we got to go in, that's when I kind of just like ended up with the snowboarders because I was like, Shaun White's really cool. Chloe Kim's really cool. I know this Lindsay Jacobellis I've heard of before. I'd known of Nick Baumgartner because of the Upper Peninsula, Wisconsin connection. And so I saw these athletes that I was like, this is my time to meet new people. And I also happened to meet Robbie Burns and we had dinner together and we got to walk into the nest together. And, I was the only Nordic athlete there. So he was kind enough to take photos of me underneath the rings. And I took photos of him and his teammate. And by the end of the ceremonies, we kind of just were swapping stories and, struggles and successes and what it took us to get to the Olympics and everything like this. And I thought he was just like the most fascinating person, just like loved connecting with him immediately. So we exchanged phone numbers. I invited him to come watch my race and he came.
Oh, wow.
And he saw me get 7th place.
Fantastic.
He got to stand on the range and everything. Like he wasn't even in the stands. They let him on the range.
Wow.
To watch me race. I know.
The power of the uniform and the accreditation, right? Like, come on in.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then like the next day, I went and watched him race. And yeah, I guess the rest was history. I think we just had this immediate connection where, really just wanted to continue to get to know him and his story. And yeah, he's just awesome. And now for the last 4-year cycle, he's been like my biggest support system. It's amazing having a partner that understands all the sacrifice and everything that goes into this. And, he continued to compete off and on too. And so it's been such a cool journey with him. And yeah, and now we got engaged last January.
Congratulations.
And yeah, we plan to get married this fall-ish sometime.
I was going to ask you that.
We're busy. We're busy right now.
I know you hate getting asked that question, right? When's the wedding? You get sick of that after a while. You actually mentioned to me off air, and I sort of clicked when you said it, that I've got tickets to one of the events that you're competing in, and it's on Valentine's Day. Single people don't really know when Valentine's Day is, Deedra, so thank you for reminding me. But is it a case of after you compete, nice little romantic dinner in the I mean, I guess you'd be your own sort of satellite village, I guess, being so far away from Milan, but I mean, kind of you sort of wondering what he's going to do for you to surprise you. Maybe you'll have a medal around your neck that night. Who knows? It could, get you free food that night.
That might be nice. Yeah. Yeah. No, obviously we don't have any plans, but I think, it is just like a funny, like nostalgic day for us because obviously the last Olympics. We were in the village, and it's always Valentine's Day during the Olympics. So it was one of our funny ways that we flirted with each other. He asked me to be his Valentine, So it was like, it's a very cute little, flirty holiday for us because, it brings us back to when we first met, and, we were, able to joke about, having just met each other in a foreign country and falling in love. It was very...
It's a movie. There's going to be a movie made on you. Like, I mean, I don't know if there was what's called Olympic Dreams, that movie that was filmed during the Pyeongchang Olympics. It had like Nick Kroll in it. And there was a former US cross country. If you not see it, it's actually a pretty cute, quirky little movie. But that was sort of about two people who fell in love in the athletes' village. So just saying,
there you
sequel.
Go. So
Olympic Dreams
it happens,
2.
Yeah. Olympic Dreams 2 coming to a theater near you.
Everyone always just shares these stories, right? Like, and we never ask about it on the show because it gets done to death by like the Daily Mail and that sort of stuff about like, the Olympic Village, the condoms, all that kind of stuff, whatever. Like, I want to hear about these stories that it's kind of like that. It's just, this is permanent, right? It's great to kind of to hear that, and then obviously to have this connection now, which will make the Olympics, particularly the Winter Olympics, extra special for you guys for the rest of your lives.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is a magical month of the year for sure.
Yeah.
That's why I think, when more ways than one after the last Olympics, even before me and Robbie started officially dating, I did a number of interviews, and I think like I had already known at that moment that this Olympics was going to go down in history for me, after the 7th place. And, I hadn't told everybody that I met this really cute guy or anything, but I had so many amazing things happen to me at that Olympics. And I think I said something, in interviews after where I learned that you don't need an Olympic medal to have an Olympic moment. And for me, thinking back on Beijing, there were so many Olympic level moments for me that were just things I will always remember, that will always go down in history for me. Opening ceremonies for more than one reason, obviously, getting that 7th place. And then, obviously after everything that's built since then, my confidence in the sport, getting, an actual husband, that's been great. So I'm excited to see what this Olympics brings me. I'm not looking around for anybody though. You're
not trying to find another husband in Milano Cortina, right?
No, but I'm trying to convince my teammates that they too could find their husband.
I mean, as you said to me, Valentine's Day, right? It could, like, everybody could be feeling it. Italy's romantic, right? Like, I mean, it's the Dolomites. It's beautiful, like, I mean, that's
a beautiful place.
That just signals love. There you go. Yeah. Good luck to your teammates. That's all I say. Before we wrap up with a set of 10 get to know yourself questions, Deedra, a bit of fun. Speaking of fun, I found a website here with 3 fun facts about Deedra. Now, I just wanted to go over these. One of them we've already talked about. You met your fiance at the opening ceremony. You say here that you will compete for beer and donut. But the one here that I love the best here, you never travel without your teddy bear, Barry. Tell me about Barry.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Barry, he is my, number one guy.
Sorry, Robbie.
Besides Robbie. No, right? He's been with me for longer.
Yeah.
I believe I was about 17 years old when I got him.
Wow.
My best friend, she's still one of my best friends from high school. She gave him to me after I got my wisdom teeth out, I believe.
Right. Okay.
So, like, my first time getting, knocked out, and I got a teddy bear for it. And I just kind of started traveling everywhere with him. And yeah, I think the only places he hasn't gone with me is like basic training for the Army. He didn't need to experience that. He doesn't need that trauma in his life. Yeah. Otherwise, like, he's been everywhere. His passport is extensive. He's got a lot of stamps. He's even been to Australia.
Good to know.
Yep. He went to Australia with me.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I think it's one of those things where, from one of my best friends, and he kind of just became this like security, that I could have everywhere with me. It was never a question of if Barry was coming with me. It was always, how is he going to fit in my bag?
Is he big? Like, is he
Especially
like
after
little or big or?
No, he's big.
I'll get him.
He's
Do you
big.
have him?
And so my mother, I do.
Okay.
I'll show you quick.
Please, we need to see
So my
Barry.
mom actually, funny story. So obviously if you have a bear for 17 years, he gets really flat because you like sleep on him pretty much. So my mom actually, instead of him getting like a weight loss surgery, he got like he gained weight.
Right.
So he's a unit.
Oh, wow.
He's a unit. He's a big guy. He's very fluffy.
Look at that. Oh,
and my mom
great.
actually, I don't remember where she went. She went somewhere near a Disney place and she bought this Winnie the Pooh sweatshirt and made it into a jumper for him.
Wow.
Because Winnie the Pooh is my favorite movie. Another fun fact.
There you go. Okay. That's sadly not in the last 10 questions, but I'd like to learn the extra ones. But no, Barry's awesome. I bring up Barry as well because our show's mascot, and I'm going to point here, is Cherry. Now, Cherry's also behind me. So we've got Barry and Cherry. He's a chair.
There we go.
Our co-host threw a chair across the room, so we created a mascot out of it. Why not? But Barry and Cherry could be friends. There you go.
I think they would be great friends. I think Barry would like to hang out with Cherry for sure.
Barry could sit on Cherry.
He's been through a lot. Yeah, he could. Yeah.
And so
at one point, my dog bit his ear off, so I had to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Surgery, weight loss, weight increase surgery. He's been through the ringer. Weight gaining. Yeah, exactly. Does he? Will he be like in the crowd? So like, will be it Robbie or your parents will have him so that when you inevitably cross the line to win, the US's first ever biathlon medal at the Olympics, that the first thing you do is bugger off mum and dad, bugger off Robbie. Where's Barry?
I could probably make that happen.
Yeah.
I bet I could tell my mom and she could make him a Team USA jumper.
NBC will eat that shit up, Deedra. Like Snoop Dogg will be on the line. He'll be there, hanging with Barry. Like, come on. There you go.
I hope actually, I would get Barry a Snoop Dogg t-shirt if they would just tell me when I get to meet Snoop Dogg. I'm waiting for that moment. I'm waiting for the call. I'm ready.
There's less, as we touched on before with the summer, there's less winter sports than summer sports, right? So I think he made like 6 different sports. He was at 2 of the events I was at in Paris. It was kind of strange when Snoop's there, but like surely with, there being limited winter sports that Snoop can try to make an appearance at all of them, right? So come on, Snoop.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, bobsled's already got Flavor Flav. They don't need Snoop. No. So
yeah, exactly.
Dibs on Snoop.
Exactly. Please, Mr. Dog, if you're listening, go to the biathlon. All right, that's what we want. Deedra,
I'll even let him shoot my rifle.
Hey, look at the NBC right there. Come on, ratings gold. We're handing it to you on a platter.
Exactly.
All right, come on.
Exactly.
There you go. We wrap up every interview set of 10 get to know you questions. Hopefully, ones here that you've never answered before. I'm going to start off with the one thing that you never leave home without when traveling to a competition, and you're not allowed to answer like skis or a rifle, things like that. Obviously, they're kind of things you might need to compete. And Barry, obviously, you can't answer Barry.
Obviously. So like to an actual race, what do I bring to a race?
Even if it's something outside, if you've got a lucky pair of shorts or a lucky pair of socks or, anything like that.
Yeah. I actually, because I never know how long I'll be sitting around, I actually usually always bring some of my knitting project and whatever I'm knitting at the time. Okay. So I have a knitting project in my bag usually with me to training or racing.
You're like Tom Daly when he's sitting in the crowd there knitting his jumpers in the diving. You're the winter equivalent. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. So I like socks. I do socks.
All right. How quick are you? Like, can you finish during when you 20 pairs of socks later, you got to fill your bag up, or not quite that quick?
No, socks take a long they don't take a long time. I just recently learned how to knit 2 socks at the same time, which has been very exciting.
Skillful.
And so I'm about, for smaller feet, about 2 to 3 days. Okay. For larger feet, about 4 to 5 days.
Not bad. All right. Okay. I don't know much about knitting, so there you go. Very, very skillful there. This might be fitting into the same answer here. A tradition or superstition you follow before every big competition?
I would say for me, like visualization.
Okay.
It's probably the only thing that I do consistently. Otherwise, I don't like to get too hung up on what I'm eating because we travel to so many different places and And if I need oatmeal and I can't find oatmeal, I don't want to be freaking out about it. And I don't have any lucky socks or underwear because that stuff gets gross. I'm not that kind of
That's
person.
Why you knit them. That's why you knit them, to make sure they're always clean, right?
They're always clean. Yeah. So for me, probably, one thing you might see, either before a race or like even in the start pen, sometimes I'll just like close my eyes and I'll be just doing a quick little visualization of what I want to happen. Obviously standing on that podium. And then off to the races.
We like hearing, even though the show's called Off the Podium, on the podium is preferred, just to let you know. Yeah. A song that is on every one of your pre-competition playlists, no matter what.
Oh my gosh. I can't even say a singular song, but like a millennial song, like any millennial song. Anything by Pitbull is probably on my playlist. Fireball, like recently was playing in the start pen and I was like, oh, this is a vibe, like Fireball, Black Eyed Peas. I think when a DJ is just killing it when we're in the start pen getting ready for the race. If you follow me on Instagram now, I think I'm known as the dancing queen in the start pen now.
I've seen a few clips. Yep.
Yeah. France nailed it. They had such great music going, and they had like Kesha and, Black Eyed Peas. And I think I even said, I was like, I feel like I'm in my college basement dance party right now. So anything that brings me back to the glory days, man, I'm pumped.
I'm going to ignore the fact that
my playlist is just millennial.
I feel very old now that they're called the glory days, but I get it. I feel it. It is that level. Pitbull actually recently came. They did a sort of like a urban mini festival at one of our stadiums, and the headline act was Mariah Carey, but then second billing was Pitbull, and everybody was there for Pitbull. Basically, I'm not joking. After Pitbull left, about a quarter of the crowd left. They didn't hang around for Mariah. Mariah was great, don't get me wrong, but everyone was only there to hear All I Want for Christmas Is You, because it was that time of year, and she did it. She nailed it. Good for you, Mariah. But when Pitbull was there, my Lord, that stadium went off. And Fireball, my Lord, that stadium went off. So, yeah, if you get a chance to see him live, I think he's touring North America in the next year. Like, see him. If you've not seen him, he's amazing.
One of my greatest regrets, and I think every single person on my team would say the same thing, is that Pitbull was performing in Salt Lake City, October of like 2024. And we were there for a camp. And it was like, I don't know, maybe 4 days before we had a trials race. And we were all like, we should be the responsible athletes and we should just not go to this concert. And to this day, if you ask any of my teammates if we regret not going to that concert, we all say yes. We're like, we made the biggest mistake of our lives. We should have went to that concert. Like, screw our trials. We want to go to Pitbull.
Yeah, and I say this in the nicest possible way. Screw Mariah Carey being at the opening ceremony. Where's Pitbull? All right? Come on.
I agree. We need Pitbull.
Exactly. Mariah's great, though. I'm sure she'll do a very good job in the opening ceremony.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Worldwide, exactly. There you go. The most unexpected or funny direct message you have ever gotten as an Olympian?
Oh, God, there's so many good ones.
We filter out the weirdos in this section right now.
Okay, so, gosh. This kid.
Okay. Always starts
It's always
well.
the kids that are the most direct.
Always the kids.
And I loved it because it was just like, it was so good. I think some people, they, especially after, being one shot away from the podium in Beijing, they're all like, oh, you still did great. And I like definitely don't. I'm like so happy of how I did. No complaints. But this kid, I was doing a talk at like a football practice, a recruiting opportunity for the Vermont National Guard. And this kid just goes, so how does it feel to know you failed? That's just like,
wow.
Oh my gosh. I was just like, dude, I succeeded. Actually, I did great. And I was like, don't make me cry. No, I was kidding. But no, it was so great. I think that is probably like, since I've become an Olympian, that's one of those funny moments where I look back and I'm like, I will never regret being humbled by a small child. They are brutally honest. And, I think he just was definitely like, but you didn't medal, just like, so like blatant, like, but you didn't do the thing. So you must be disappointed.
Wow. Jeez. And I guess he didn't make it into the army. I'm guessing he didn't get recruited after that. You're like rejected.
I mean, I still don't think he's 18 yet. That's how young he was. So I think he's still got time to change his attitude, you know?
He'll get there. Don't worry. The weirdest thing you've ever eaten at an international competition, and did you like it?
Beijing was rough. Beijing was rough for me. I ended up eating a lot of cake.
Okay. I saw that you ate it before your actual event.
Yeah.
You ate it before the seventh place, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I did try because Joanne was trying and she loved the little like mini octopus. I think was also on the same story that I posted where I was like, I'm eating cake and Joanne's eating octopus. That was not my thing. I did not appreciate that.
All right. Okay.
So like anything that's sort of wriggly, squiggly, and kind of chewy, and before a race or like night before a race, I'm like a meat and potatoes gal. I'm from Wisconsin, a very just like
cheese
basic.
curds, right? Cheese curds are big there too, right?
Cheese curds, beer, donuts. I can handle all that stuff, but not like little squids.
Is the name of is it Culver's, the Wisconsin fast food chain that I'm thinking of? I remember.
Oh my gosh, you're making me so hungry.
I can't remember what part of the country I was in, but I was staying with people. They were from Wisconsin, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to take you to Culver's. This is like our thing." And yeah, pretty bloody good, I'll say. Pretty tasty.
Oh yeah, I mean anything like a burger fried in butter. That's what they're known for, the butter burger. And then yeah, Wisconsin cheese curds. I mean, you can't get much better than both of those things. You know, just clog some arteries and then go for a run.
But pretty much my favorite food is poutine, and I will say with cheese curds is that they're technically illegal in Australia because it's the way they're made with like the milk processing that's against our food regulations. So therefore, it's so hard in this country to get cheese curds ever. So whenever I'm somewhere where I see them, like I go to town because you know things that are illegal in country like cheese curds illegal in Australia. Yeah, Wisconsin people wouldn't do well here, would they?
No. I love fried cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese in any fried form is good. So do you guys not even have mozzarella sticks or anything?
We do because I think like often when you buy like poutine here, they're like, oh, these are cheese curds, but it's just mozzarella. So there must be some level of difference. I don't know how it works with the processing of it all, but it's just I think it's like the way the milk is pasteurized or something in a curd compared to
it's like curd, they don't like the curdling. Yeah. So they had I've been sorry Australia.
I know, right? Like we've got free healthcare, but you guys have cheese curds. So you know,
I think we're winning.
I think you are.
I think we're winning.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take that. Speaking of food, I mean, it might be cake. I don't know. Your ultimate guilty pleasure meal. This is after a big competition, but for you, it's almost before a big competition. It seems.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. After a big competition, it depends. It depends on what time of the year it is, honestly. Because pretty much at this point, I've been away from America for like 3 months. So any sort of American food is like my guilty pleasure. But if I'm in America, then, you know, kind of craving European food weirdly, or like Asian food. So like right now I'm craving like a giant Tex-Mex burrito.
Ooh,
what I would give for like a Chipotle burrito right now. Oh, it'd be so good. But I mean, in general, yeah, like burger, burrito, like a good pizza, or I don't really like sweets that much. Like I'll eat them, but I'm definitely more of a savory eater. So like fried dough is not sweet, but I do love fried dough. So donuts, some of the places here, like for our competitions, they have this like fried dough that they put on a stick. It's delicious. I don't know it, but it's like a fair food. So anything that's like really fatty and delicious, I want it.
I think it works in your sport though, with the distances and the carbs you've got to burn and just the energy you need, right? So you just get away with it. I need to take up biathlon.
Yeah. I
need to eat all this food.
Yeah, I can't eat enough in season. I'm constantly trying to maintain my weight.
I don't know how much of a McDonald's fan you are. I know I saw in one of your videos after Beijing you got KFC. But I sort of hark back to the days when McDonald's were the sponsor of the Olympics and all the glorious stories of all the athletes, you know, eating like 80 chicken nuggets after an event and just going crazy. The lines for McDonald's are around the block, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if that's the same with KFC in the village, but I mean, you know, there were some glory days of Olympic food halls.
Yeah, we had KFC was the only and like maybe some sort of weird pizza, like maybe a Pizza Hut, but I don't think it was Pizza Hut. But we had a KFC in the Olympic Village, and yeah, everybody. I mean, yeah, I think I brought after one of my races, I had to go to massage, and I think I just brought like a fried chicken sandwich and goldfish with me to the massage, and just like ate it on the table while I was getting massage. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of the comfort food. Here, I don't know what they're going to have in the villages here, if they'll have like traditional villages like they've had in the past. I know for us here, we're really spoiled. We have an amazing Italian chef that is going to be making us food every single day. And so he actually really surprised me. He said that he will be making me ramen in Anholz. Okay. So I'm very excited about that because haven't had any good ramen in a while. But today he made some gnocchi for lunch. So good.
Nice.
Yeah, okay.
Good to know. I'm getting hungry. I'm glad I'm about to have breakfast after this interview. So, that pays well. If you could swap sports for a day with another Olympian, Deedra, what event would you choose and how do you think you'd fare? Winter or summer, by the way. You can pick a summer.
Or summer.
If you're sick of the cold.
Do I get all of their talents?
Yeah, let's go for it. Sure.
Oh my goodness, that's such a hard question because there's so many sports that I wish I was good at that like I just don't think my body could handle. But if I had someone else's body and talents, then maybe I would love to know what it feels like flying through the air, doing all the twisties in gymnastics. Mm-hmm. Like, what does that feel like? Because like I spin around once and I'm dizzy. So being able to like do the vault, I think would be insane. Just being able to just run full speed at this object and just like do an insanely cool trick would be awesome. Or even like when they do the diving off the diving board and they do a ton of flips before they hit the water. Like I want to know what it's like to like spin and tumble and not want to throw up.
Yeah. That would be handy, right? The beauty of the Olympics is plenty of those as well. So, switch it. Simone Biles, look out. Maybe you could do some sort of Simone Biles trade-off, get her on some skis with the gun and she can do biathlon and you can try the vault, basically.
Yeah, so that would be great. If she wanted to teach me how to do the vault or, balance beam or even the floor routine, I feel like maybe I could do the floor routine because it doesn't involve an apparatus. I would totally teach her how to ski and shoot some targets. I think she'd do great at it too.
NBC, you're getting free content here. Get her on the phone. All right, get her on the phone. If your Olympic journey were a movie, what would the title be and who would play you?
I mean, I think we talked about this. Olympic Dreams 2.
Yeah.
Who would play me and then who would play Robbie?
Have you ever had doppelgangers before at all for yourself in terms of...
One time somebody told me that Robbie sounded like Matthew McConaughey. So
all right. Okay.
So he doesn't have a Southern accent, but I don't know. I was like, okay, I can see it.
You're not going to say no to that.
For me, yep. I don't know. I mean, I love, oh my gosh, what movie is it? Like Devil Wears Prada actress. Is it Anne Hathaway?
Anne Hathaway. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And she's in Princess Diaries also. Yeah.
Okay. Anne Hathaway.
I think she's hilarious. Icons, you know?
So I feel they've done a movie together. So this could be their second one together.
Probably.
Yeah, sure.
And they made a great pair. Exactly. Olympic Dreams 2.
Olympic Dreams 2. Look at this. It sells itself. The one question you're tired of being asked and what is the one that you wish people would ask you instead?
I guess specifically about biathlon, I would say the question of how do you get your heart rate down to shoot? Mm-hmm. Which is, I think, one of those myths in biathlon. We don't actually come into the range and specifically try to get our heart rates down. And so I think what I would prefer to be asked instead, or I guess I have been asked in the past and I love it, is how do you switch that mindset between skiing to shooting and then back to skiing and then back to shooting? I think that's such a cool question. And it also just makes me think, how do I do that? And what am I doing in those moments? And then trying to explain it to somebody, it actually makes me introspect a little bit of like, maybe I'm not doing it that great sometimes. Maybe I'm overthinking it, So I love that question. Anything that with like the sports psychology of our sport, I think is fascinating.
I always like asking that question. The fact that I can generally give myself a big green tick that I didn't ask you that question, that you don't like being asked, and save the next one for
you
the next
did
one.
it.
I did, right? Succeed. That's my Olympic medal, Deedra. There you go.
There you go.
Final question. One lesson you have learned from losing that has shaped you more than winning.
Ooh.
We go deep.
Lesson I've learned from losing. I think for me, it's
I've stumped her.
It's that if I'm losing, I'm trying, like, it's funny because a bunch of like memories, it's like, people are like, a bunch of memories of me losing just flooded my brain.
Uh-oh.
And it's like, what was I thinking in those moments? And it's one of those things, none of them are bad though, because I think I came out of each of them stronger and more aware of my body in those moments. So like I remember losing to one of my teammates in like a cross country race in college. And she was so afraid of how I'd react to it because she thought I would be super mad at her. And I was like, after the race, I was like her biggest fan. I was like, you did it. That was amazing. And she's like, you're not mad at me? And I'm like, no, because I like something's wrong with my body right now, like something's off and I need to take a step back and I need to like recover or something, but that doesn't lessen the amazing win that you just got. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you achieved this awesome thing. And so I think for me, in those moments, I learned that, it's not always about winning. It's about, how you come back from those failures and how do you, support your teammates who, in you losing, probably got to win, which is incredible. And I think that should always be celebrated. And so I think that kind of goes back to, this perspective that I'm trying to have for the Olympics is if I don't get the medal, I'm not going to be sad if one of my teammates does. I'm going to be so excited because it's not just a me medal, it's a team medal, And so I think definitely, there's so much you can learn in your failure. And for me, all the times that I've failed, I've only learned how to come back stronger, smarter, more aware of, what brought me to that failure, not let it happen again, whether it was an injury, a mental block or anything like that. So I think that, that's the biggest thing I've learned is that when you fail, that means there's something to learn. There's something to grow from.
Great answer. The attitude there. I absolutely love it. And as you said, it's going to be a matter of, this medal is going to happen, be it from yourself or a teammate. And obviously to be there to be able to celebrate that moment, no matter what, is going to be a big thing. Deedra, this has been such an honor and a privilege to chat with you on the show today. If people want to follow your journey in Milano Cortina, beyond social media, where can people stay up to date with everything that you've got going on in your life right now?
Yeah, definitely social media is the one thing I post on. But I do have a Facebook page that when I'm not posting on it, my mom is. And she'll always post from the desk of mom. So follow my Facebook page, Deedra Irwin, biathlete. Mom posts on it often. And so yeah, those two social media outlets, and obviously the World Class Athlete Program does a great job of posting about us on their websites and at goarmy.com and everything. They're our biggest supporters. So yeah, you can find me. You can Wikipedia me too. Probably find out a lot about me that I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like I need to have a new category now just on Wikipedia. Fact check. Let's go through over everything and kind of see it. It's like if I've got Michael Phelps on the show because he'll be here all day. But, it's sort of, it's one of these things where it's like, yeah, what is right and what is wrong. Best of luck, Deedra. We're going to be cheering everything on for you and fingers and toes crossed that everything goes to plan and that we can get you back on this show talking again about your experiences at a second Olympic Games, hopefully maybe with a couple of nice shining medals around your neck as well.
Oh, thank you so much. It was so fun to talk to you. You had amazing questions, keep doing this. You're doing great.